The explosion tore through the royal cruiser's starboard hull at 030 hours, and Princess Ilara watched her bodyguards disintegrate in the vacuum before the emergency shield snapped into place. Her human mate, Connor Blake, was already moving. He grabbed her arm and yanked her through the corridor as secondary detonations ripped through the ship's infrastructure. She stumbled in her ceremonial robes, but his grip kept her upright. "Move! Move! Move!" Connor shouted over the shrieking alarms. Zalara's 4 lungs heaved as she ran. Her people, the Zalvori, were twice human size and 3 times their strength. Yet somehow Connor was pulling her along like she weighed nothing. Adrenaline, she told herself. Human adrenaline was impressive, but short-lived. They rounded a corner and found 3 Krell assassins blocking the escape pod bay. 8 feet tall, armored in biosteel, mandibles clicking with anticipation. The lead Krell raised a plasma rifle. Connor shoved Zalara behind him. "Get to the pod," he said quietly. "Connor, no. You cannot fight them. You are human. You are fragile." She had chosen him from the diplomatic corps 6 months ago, drawn to his kindness and intelligence. Humans were rare in the galactic community, prized as mates for their emotional depth and creativity. But they were weak. Everyone knew this. Their bones broke easily. Their skin tore. They needed pressurized environments just to survive. The Krell fired. Connor moved. Not quickly by Zalvori standards, but with impossible precision. He rolled left as plasma scorched the wall where he had stood. His hand came up holding something small and cylindrical. He threw it. The Krell leader's head snapped back. The cylinder, a fire extinguisher canister, had hit with enough force to crack his facial armor. He staggered. Connor was already closing the distance. He slid under the second Krell's swing and drove his elbow into the joint of its knee armor. The crack echoed. The Krell collapsed, shrieking. The third Krell lunged with claws extended. Connor grabbed its wrist mid-strike, twisted, and used the alien's own momentum to slam it face first into the bulkhead. Once, twice, 3 times. The Krell went limp. The lead Krell was recovering, raising his rifle again. Connor picked up a metal support beam torn loose by the explosions. He swung it like a bat. The impact sent the Krell crashing through a doorway. Silence, except for the alarms. Connor turned to Zalara, breathing hard but steady. "Pod, now." She stared at him, at the 3 Krell warriors, elite killers who had slaughtered her guards, at her fragile human mate who had just torn through them like they were nothing. "How?" she whispered. "Later." He grabbed her hand again. "We have maybe 90 seconds before this ship breaks apart." They ran. And for the first time since choosing her human mate, Princess Zalara wondered what else the galaxy had gotten wrong about humanity. The escape pod rattled through the debris field as the royal cruiser exploded behind them. Zalara gripped the crash harness with all 4 hands, her violet eyes locked on Connor as he worked the manual controls. His movements were calm, methodical, like he had done this 1,000 times. "We are being pursued," Zalara said, checking the rear sensors. 4 Krell fighter craft. "They will overtake us in 30 seconds. I know." Connor pulled hard on the stick, diving the pod toward a nearby asteroid cluster. Hang on. The pod was not designed for evasive maneuvers. It was a life raft, meant to drift until rescue arrived. Connor flew it like a combat shuttle. He threaded between asteroids at speeds that made the hull groan. Proximity alarms screamed. The Krell fighters followed, firing pulse weapons that lit up the darkness. One blast clipped their port thruster. The pod spun. Zalara's stomach lurched, but Connor corrected before they smashed into rock. He dove deeper into the asteroid field, where the space was tighter and the stones moved faster. Connor, this is madness. The pod cannot withstand this stress. Neither can the Krell fighters. He banked hard right, then immediately left. A Krell fighter too large and too fast to adjust slammed into an asteroid. The explosion briefly lit the cockpit orange. 3 left. Connor found what he was looking for, a gap between 2 tumbling asteroids, barely wider than the pod. He gunned the damaged thrusters and shot through. The timing had to be perfect. 1 second too early or too late, and they would be crushed. They made it. 2 Krell fighters did not. The third pulled up, abandoning the chase. Connor eased back on the controls and let the pod drift behind a large asteroid, hidden from sensors. He powered down everything except life support. Then he sagged in his seat, finally letting exhaustion show. Zalara unstrapped and moved to him. Her hands, each one the size of his head, touched his face gently. You are bleeding. A cut above his eye, probably from the initial explosion. Human blood, so red compared to her own blue. She had been taught humans were delicate, that their thin skin split easily and their weak bodies could not handle trauma. Yet Connor had fought 3 Krell warriors and then outflew their best pilots in a damaged escape pod. I will survive, Connor said, but we need to talk. Yes, we do. Zalara pulled a medical kit from the wall storage. As she cleaned his wound, she studied his face. Strong jaw, scars she had never asked about, eyes that had seen things she was only now beginning to understand. You are not what I thought you were. No human is. Connor winced as she applied the sealant. Your people, the whole Galactic Council, they think we are soft because we are not naturally suited for space. Because we need environmental suits and pressurized ships, they see our requirements as weakness. Are they wrong? Completely. Connor met her eyes. Zalara, humans evolved on a death world. Earth has weather that can kill you in minutes, predators that hunt in packs, diseases that wipe out millions. We have gravity 50% higher than most council worlds. We survived by being adaptable, relentless, and very, very hard to kill. Zalara's translator struggled with some of his words. Death World was not a classification her people used, but your bones break easily. Compared to Zalvori, sure, but they heal fast, and they get stronger afterward. Connor stood testing his injured leg. Zalara, you chose me because I was kind and intelligent, because I quoted poetry and played music. You thought those were my only qualities. I thought I was protecting you by keeping you away from danger. Shame colored her voice. For 6 months she had treated him like a pet, something precious and breakable. I know. Connor's expression softened. You were not cruel, just ignorant. The whole galaxy is ignorant about humans. We let them think we are weak because it is safer that way, easier. But when pushed, he gestured at the wreckage behind them, at the Krell corpses still floating in space. We push back. An alert blinked on the console. Connor checked it and his face went hard. We have a problem. What is it? That attack was not random. Someone hired the Krell to kill you specifically. And according to the pod's black box data, the explosives were planted by someone inside your own security detail. Zalara's blood went cold. That is impossible. My guards are loyal. One was not. Connor pulled up the security footage from before the explosion. It showed a Zalvori guard, one Zalara had known for years, placing charges in the engine room. We cannot go back to your homeworld. Whoever wants you dead has people in the palace. Then where do we go? Connor smiled, but there was no humor in it. We go hunting. Someone just made the mistake of attacking a human's mate. They are about to learn why that is a very bad idea. Zalara looked at this human, her mate, and saw him clearly for the first time. Not fragile, not weak, something far more dangerous, something the galaxy should have feared. Connor set course for the Nexus station, a neutral trading hub 3 systems away. The pod limped along on one thruster, conserving fuel and staying off major shipping lanes. Zalara watched him work, noticing things she had missed before. The way his eyes constantly scanned the sensors, the efficiency of every movement, the complete absence of panic. "You have military training," she said. It was not a question. "Former Special Operations, Earth Marine Corps, Reconnaissance Division." Connor did not look up from the navigation screen. 12 years active duty before I joined the diplomatic service. You never told me. You never asked. He finally met her eyes. "Zalara, humans who join the diplomatic corps are not random civilians. We are chosen specifically. The galaxy thinks we are harmless academics and cultural attachés. That ignorance is a weapon." The pod shuddered as they crossed into the next system. Zalara braced herself, but Connor had already compensated. "How many other humans are like you?" "All of us." "Every single human in Council space has training. Combat, intelligence gathering, survival skills. We smile and shake hands and talk about art while cataloging every weakness, every station layout, every security protocol." Connor brought up a holographic display. "Do you know how many humans are currently assigned to Council worlds? Perhaps 5,000 across all territories. 8,342, and every one of them reports back to Earth Command." Connor highlighted star systems on the map. "We have been embedded in your society for 20 years, and you never noticed. You thought we were grateful refugees, weak survivors from a marginal world begging for acceptance." Zalara felt her hearts racing. "What are you saying?" "I am saying humans are not pets or curiosities. We are an intelligence network that spans the galaxy, and we have been preparing." Connor's voice was calm but firm. "Preparing for what? We were not sure, but your assassination attempt just answered that question." He pulled up another file. "While you were unconscious after the initial blast, I accessed the pod's emergency relay. I sent a coded message to the nearest human operative. By now, Earth Command knows someone is moving against the Zulvori royal family. They will want to know why." "This is treason," Zalara whispered. "You are spying on the Council. We are surviving." Connor shut down the display. "Zalara, do you know what happened the last time a powerful species decided humanity was weak and exploitable?" She shook her head. "The Kryn hegemony, about 40 years before first contact with the Council. They found Earth, saw our limited space capability, and decided we would make excellent slaves. They landed occupation forces in 15 major cities." Connor's expression went distant. "It took us 6 months to drive them off-world, another year to capture their fleet, 2 more years to find their home system. The Kryn hegemony does not exist anymore. The Council has no record of this. Because we made sure of that, we took their technology, reverse-engineered their drives, and used their own ships to reach Council space. Then we played weak and harmless while we learned everything about you." Connor turned back to the controls. "We will not be enslaved again. Not by anyone." The Nexus station appeared on sensors, a massive spinning wheel of commerce and information. Connor initiated docking protocols, but his hand hovered over the weapon locker. "When we dock, stay close. Trust no one except humans. If I give you an order, follow it immediately, understood? I am a princess. I do not take orders. You are a target, and I am the only thing keeping you alive." Connor's voice was steel. "So yes, you do take orders." At least until we figure out who wants you dead and why. Zalara wanted to argue, but the memory of him tearing through Krell assassins stopped her. This was not the gentle mate who read poetry to her in their quarters. This was something else. Something shaped by violence and necessity. They docked at berth 47. Connor went first, scanning the corridor with a borrowed plasma pistol he had pulled from the pod's emergency cache. The station was crowded with dozens of species conducting business. None paid them attention. There. Connor nodded toward a human woman working at a cargo desk. She looked ordinary, middle-aged, wearing a station jumpsuit. But when Connor made a subtle hand gesture, she responded with one of her own. They approached. The woman glanced at Zalara, then back to Connor. Rough trip? Krell assassins. Inside job. Need a secure line to command and safe quarters. Bay 12, Section 9. Access code is your service number plus today's date reversed. The woman handed Connor a data chip. This has everything we have on recent Krell activity. Something big is moving. Multiple contracts on council officials. You are not the only ones running. Connor pocketed the chip. How many others? 17 confirmed hits in the last week, all high-ranking, all from different species. Someone is trying to destabilize the entire council. Zalara stepped forward. Who would benefit from council collapse? The woman looked at her, really looked, and Zalara saw calculation in those human eyes. That is the question, isn't it, Princess? And whoever they are, they just made a fatal mistake. What mistake? Zalara asked. Connor answered. They hurt one of ours. Every human in council space just became a hunter. And we are very good at hunting. The woman smiled. It was not a kind smile. Bay 12 is ready. Commander Briggs is waiting for you. He will want a full debrief. They moved through the station, and Zalara began to notice things. Humans everywhere, working as technicians, merchants, cleaning crew, security. All of them tracking Connor with subtle glances. All of them armed, she realized. Concealed weapons, easily missed unless you knew what to look for. She had walked among them for 6 months and never seen it, never understood that humanity's weakness was a mask and behind it was something patient and dangerous. They reached Bay 12, the door sealed behind them, and a man in unmarked tactical gear stood waiting. Commander Briggs. He looked at Connor and nodded. Good to see you alive, Blake. Now tell me everything. Connor began talking, and Zalara listened to him describe the attack with perfect recall, every detail catalogued and analyzed. This was not her mate. This was a soldier giving a mission report, and somewhere in the back of her mind, Zalara wondered if she had ever really known Connor Blake at all. Commander Briggs studied the holographic replay of the attack, his expression unreadable. The safe house was sparse, just tactical equipment and communication gear. 6 other humans worked at various stations, coordinating intelligence from across council space. 17 assassinations, Briggs said, all within 7 days. All targeting council leadership. The Krell are just the weapon. Someone else is pulling strings. Connor leaned over the tactical display. Financial patterns? A young human woman at a nearby console looked up. Massive credit transfers through shell corporations, traced back to the outer reach, but the trail goes cold after that. Whoever is funding this knows how to hide money. Zalara watched them work with practiced efficiency. These were not diplomats. This was a military operation running in the heart of council space. How long has Earth been planning this? Briggs glanced at her. Planning what, Princess? We are not the aggressors here. We are the insurance policy. You have operatives embedded throughout the galaxy. Weapons. Intelligence networks. This is an invasion force disguised as refugees. No. Briggs walked closer, and despite being smaller than her, His presence was commanding. This is a survival strategy. Humanity learned a hard lesson before joining the Council. Never be weak. Never be unprepared. Never trust that peace will last. He gestured to the displays showing assassination reports. And we were right not to trust. Connor's console beeped. I have something. Cross-referencing the assassination targets with recent council votes. He pulled up records. Every victim voted against expanding military access to the Outer Reach territories. They were blocking a proposal to allow Council security forces into previously neutral space. Who proposed the expansion? Zalara asked, though dread was already building in her chest. The Confederation of Tall. Connor's voice was grim. Your father's oldest political rival. Zalara's legs felt weak. The Tall were a powerful species, wealthy and influential. They had been pushing for decades to gain military dominance in the Council. Her father, King Vexen, had always opposed them, maintaining the balance of power that kept the Council stable. If my father loses enough allies in the Council, the Tal can force the vote, Zalara said slowly. They gain military control of the Outer Reach, and from there they can dominate trade routes, resource allocation, everything. It is a coup without firing a shot, Briggs said, except they are firing shots, just making it look like random violence instead of coordinated strategy. Connor pulled up another file. There is more. 3 days ago, a Tal merchant vessel docked at Krell Space, stayed for 6 hours, left with no cargo exchange on record. I bet that was when the contracts were negotiated. Can we prove it? Zalara asked. Not in time to stop the Council vote. That happens in 4 days. Briggs crossed his arms. By then, enough Council members will be dead or terrified that the Tall will have their majority. Unless we stop them. Connor's eyes were hard. We need to cut off the head. Find whoever is coordinating the assassinations and end them. A human at the communication station spoke up. Sir, we are getting reports of Tal military ships moving into position near key Council worlds. They are calling it training exercises, but the formations are aggressive. Briggs cursed under his breath. They are not just planning a political takeover. They are preparing for war if the Council resists. Zalara felt the weight of it crash down. Her people, the entire Council, on the brink of collapse, and the only ones who saw it coming were the humans everyone thought were harmless. What can we do? You have 8,000 operatives. The Tal have a fleet. We have more than operatives, Briggs said quietly. Connor, show her. Connor hesitated, then pulled up a classified file. It showed a star system Zalara did not recognize. In orbit around the third planet were dozens of ships, human ships, not the small diplomatic vessels the Council had seen. These were warships, carriers, destroyers, battle cruisers. Earth has a fleet, Zalara whispered. You have been building a fleet. For 40 years, Briggs confirmed. We smile and play weak in Council space, while back home we prepare, just in case. We learned from the Kryn. Never again will humanity be caught defenseless. This changes everything. If the Council knew, they would panic, maybe attack us preemptively. Connor shut down the display. That is why we stay hidden. We are not here to conquer. We are here to survive. But if the Tall start a war, if they destroy the Council and threaten Earth, we will respond. Zalara understood the message. Humanity was a loaded weapon. Safety off. Finger on the trigger. Waiting. So what do we do now? We go to Tall Prime, Connor said. Find the coordinator. Stop the assassinations. Buy time for the Council to see what is really happening. That is a suicide mission. Tal Prime is the most heavily defended world in Council space. Connor smiled. and it was the same dangerous smile from the escape pod. Zalara, humans spent 12,000 years killing each other before we ever reached space. We got very good at it. Infiltration, sabotage, targeted strikes. This is what we do. Briggs nodded. I can give you a team. 6 operators. Full loadout. Stealth ship. No. Connor shook his head. Too visible. I go alone with Zalara. Absolutely not, Zalara said. I will not allow. You are not allowing anything. You are coming because you are my cover story. Connor's tone left no room for argument. A human diplomat and his Zalvori princess mate visiting Tal Prime for cultural exchange. Innocent. Harmless. They will never see us coming. Briggs considered it. It could work, but Blake, if this goes wrong, we cannot extract you. You will be on your own deep in enemy territory. Understood. Zalara looked between them. These humans who planned military operations with the same casual efficiency her people used for trade negotiations. Part of her was terrified. Part of her was exhilarated. If we do this, I need to know something. Connor, when you chose to be my mate, was it real, or was it just part of your mission? The room went silent. Every human stopped working and looked at Connor. He stepped close to Zalara, close enough that she could see the scars and the exhaustion and the weight he carried. I volunteered for diplomatic service because I was tired of war. I wanted something different. When I met you, you were kind and curious and genuinely interested in understanding humans, not as tools or threats, but as people. His hand found hers, so small compared to her own. Yes, I am a soldier. Yes, I have a mission, but I chose you because I love you. That part was never fake. Zalara's hearts ached. She had been so blind, so naive. But Connor had also been gentle when he could have been cruel, patient when he could have been dismissive. Then we go together, as mates, as partners, as hunters, Connor corrected. The Tal are about to learn what happens when you threaten a human's family. Briggs handed Connor a data chip. Ship is in Bay 31. Weapons cache in the cargo hold. Try not to start an interstellar war. Connor took the chip. No promises. They left the safe house, and Zalara realized that everything had changed. She was no longer a princess playing at romance with an exotic alien. She was part of something bigger, something dangerous. She was mated to a human, and the galaxy was about to find out what that really meant. The stealth ship cut through Tal space like a shadow, its hull coated in technology that bent sensor waves around it. Connor piloted, while Zalara studied the intelligence files Briggs had provided. The tall homeworld grew larger on the viewport, a gleaming jewel of silver cities and orbital platforms. The coordinator is named Vaj Tal Korum, Zalara read. Military governor, second cousin to the Tal High Chancellor. He operates from a compound in the capital city. Defenses? Connor asked, already plotting approach vectors. Heavy. Automated turrets, energy shields, private security force of 200. The compound sits on a cliff overlooking the ocean. Only one access road, constantly monitored. Zalara looked up. Connor, this is impossible. No, just difficult.
He brought up a holographic layout of the compound.
We are not going through the front door. We are going through the ocean. He explained the plan. They would pose as visiting dignitaries for 2 days, establishing their presence and alibi. Meanwhile, Connor would steal diving equipment and approach the compound from below at night. The cliffs had maintenance tunnels for waste disposal, unguarded because no one expected an attack from that angle. And what do I do while you are infiltrating a military compound alone? Zalara asked. You attend the cultural reception at the tall Chancellor's palace. Be visible. Be charming. Make sure everyone knows Princess Zalara is enjoying Tal hospitality. Connor met her eyes. If I fail, you need to be clear of suspicion. You warn the council. You stop this. I will not abandon you. You will if you have to. Connor's voice was firm but not unkind. Zalara, I am a soldier. Dying for the mission is part of the job description. But you are a princess. Your people need you alive.
They docked at the main orbital station 6 hours later.
Tall security boarded for inspection. Tall reptilian beings with scales that shimmered gold and green. Their leader studied Connor with cold yellow eyes. A human. How quaint. The Tall's translator made his voice sound dismissive. You are far from home, little one. Connor smiled politely, playing the harmless diplomat. Thank you for welcoming us, honored security chief. Princess Zalara and I are grateful for Tal hospitality. The security chief barely glanced at their credentials before waving them through. Humans were beneath notice. Zalara saw Connor's smile never waver, but his eyes tracked every guard position, every camera, every structural weakness. He was already planning. They took a shuttle to the surface and checked into the Grand Spiral, a luxury hotel reserved for visiting dignitaries. Their suite was beautiful, with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the sprawling capital below. It was also certainly bugged. Connor swept the room with a small device, locating 7 listening devices and 3 cameras. He left them active but positioned furniture to create blind spots. Then he wrote on a datapad instead of speaking, "Tomorrow night, 0200 hours. Stay at the reception until at least 0400 to maintain your alibi." Zalara wrote back, "How will you bypass the compound's internal security?" Connor's response made her stomach drop. "I am not bypassing it. I am going to trigger it." Before she could ask more, he erased the messages and spoke normally. "The reception tomorrow should be wonderful. I have heard Tal cultural performances are extraordinary. They played their roles perfectly." The next day, they toured museums and met with low-level Tal officials. Connor was enthusiastic and curious, asking innocent questions that were actually intelligence gathering. How many ships were in orbit? Where were the military barracks? What were the emergency protocols? The Tal answered freely because humans were harmless. That evening, Zalara dressed in formal robes for the Chancellor's reception, while Connor prepared his infiltration gear. She caught him checking weapons, his movements efficient and calm. "Connor, what did you mean about triggering the security?" He looked up from loading a compact rifle. "Vashtalkorum is paranoid. His compound has multiple redundant systems. I cannot bypass them all quietly. So I am not going to try." "Then what?" "I am going to make him think someone else is attacking. Create chaos. Use his own security response against him." Connor stood, fully armed now but covered by a dark environmental suit. The Tall think in terms of overwhelming force. They will never expect a single infiltrator to be the real threat. Zalara moved close to him. Her hands touched his face, so small and fragile compared to her own. "Come back to me, always." He kissed her palm, a human gesture she had learned to cherish. "Now go be a princess. Charm them. Make them think you suspect nothing." She left for the reception while Connor slipped into the night. The Chancellor's palace was magnificent, filled with council delegates and Tal nobility. Zalara smiled and conversed, all while her mind was in the dark ocean beneath a fortified compound. Hours crawled by. She danced with a Tal admiral, discussed art with a trade minister, laughed at jokes she did not find funny. At 0200 hours, she felt her communicator vibrate once. Connor's signal. He was inside. At 0215, alarms erupted across the city. Not at the compound, at the military spaceport 20 kilometers away. Explosions lit the night sky. The reception dissolved into chaos as Tal security rushed to respond. Zalara understood. Connor's diversion. Every available soldier would rush to defend the spaceport while he moved on the real target. At 0237, her communicator vibrated again, then went silent. Zalara forced herself to remain calm, to not show fear. She stayed at the reception, asking concerned questions, offering sympathy, playing her role even as her hearts raced. At 0412, Connor walked through the palace doors. His formal clothes were clean, his expression pleasant. He found Zalara and smiled. "Apologies for my absence. I stepped out for air and got caught in the confusion. What happened?" No one suspected him. Why would they? He was human, harmless. They returned to their hotel. Only when they were in the blind spot of the surveillance equipment did Connor pull out a data chip. Complete records of every assassination contract, every payment, every communication. Vash Talcorum kept meticulous notes. Where is he? Dead. Made it look like suicide. His own security found him after responding to the spaceport attack. Connor's face was empty of emotion. The spaceport attack was staged. Small charges in empty warehouses. No casualties. But it drew every soldier away from the compound for 14 minutes. That was all I needed. Zalara stared at this human who had just executed a military governor and framed it as suicide, who had orchestrated a false attack to create the perfect diversion. You are terrifying. I am effective. Connor plugged the data chip into their secure transmitter. Sending this to Commander Briggs now. He will distribute it to every council member before the vote. When they see proof of Tal conspiracy, the political landscape changes. The Tal will know someone infiltrated the compound. They will investigate. Let them. They will find a paranoid governor who cracked under pressure. His own logs show increasing instability. They will believe what the evidence tells them to believe. Connor finally allowed himself to relax slightly. We have 3 hours before our scheduled departure. I suggest we use them to sleep. Things are about to get complicated, but sleep would not come. Zalara lay next to Connor, feeling the warmth of his smaller body against hers, and wondered how many other times he had done this, how many targets eliminated, how many impossible missions completed. How many people have you killed? She whispered. Connor was quiet for a long time. Enough that I stopped counting. Not so many that I stopped caring. Does it haunt you? Every day. But someone has to do the hard things. Someone has to be the monster so others can remain innocent. He turned to face her. I did not want this life. But when I saw what the Kryn did to human cities, when I watched people I loved die, I made a choice. I would be the weapon. I would carry the weight, so no one else had to. Zalara held him close. This human, this soldier, this killer who read poetry and played music and loved her with surprising gentleness despite everything he had seen and done. The galaxy will learn the truth eventually, she said, about humanity, about what you really are. I know. That day is coming faster than anyone realizes. Connor closed his eyes. But until then, we play the game. We survive. We protect what matters. 3 hours later, they departed Tal Prime as scheduled. 2 innocent visitors leaving after a pleasant cultural exchange. Behind them, the Tal government scrambled to understand how their military governor had died and how his conspiracy files had been leaked to every corner of council space. They would never suspect the harmless human diplomat who had smiled so politely at their security checkpoints. And that was exactly how Connor Blake wanted it. The council emergency session convened within 18 hours of the data leak. Zalara stood beside her father, King Vexen, as he addressed the assembled delegates. The evidence was undeniable. Vashtal Korum's files detailed every assassination, every bribe, every step of the Tal conspiracy. The Tal delegation tried to deny involvement, claiming Vash had acted alone. But the financial records told a different story. The credits had flowed from the Chancellor's own treasury. "This council calls for immediate sanctions," declared the Vryn ambassador. "The Tal Confederation has committed acts of war." The vote was unanimous. The Tal military expansion was blocked, their council privileges suspended, their fleet ordered to stand down. But Connor was not watching the political theater. He stood in the observation gallery, monitoring security channels. Something felt wrong. His communicator buzzed. "Commander Briggs. Blake, we have a problem. Tal warships just jumped into the system. 12 heavy cruisers. They are ignoring the stand-down order." Connor's blood went cold. "They are going to attack the council station. Force a military resolution. Earth Command is scrambling the fleet, but we are 6 hours out. You need to evacuate Zalara. Now." Connor was already moving. He pushed through the crowded gallery and reached the council floor. Security tried to stop him, but Zalara saw his face and knew. She ran to him. "The Tal are attacking," Connor said quietly. "We have minutes." King Vexen heard him. "Impossible. They would not dare. They already dared to murder 17 council members. This is their endgame." Connor pulled up tactical data on his wrist display. "Your Majesty, you need to order immediate evacuation." The king hesitated, and that hesitation cost them. The station shuddered as Tal warships opened fire on the defensive platforms. Alarms screamed. Delegates panicked. "All personnel to escape ships," the king finally ordered. "Evacuate immediately." Chaos erupted. Hundreds of beings rushed for the docking bays. Connor grabbed Zalara's hand and pulled her against the crowd, away from the main evacuation routes. "Where are we going?" she shouted over the noise. "Somewhere they are not looking." Connor led her down a maintenance corridor. Behind them, explosions rocked the station as Tal weapons tore through the hull. They reached a small cargo bay. Connor's stealth ship was docked there, hidden among supply vessels. He got Zalara aboard and fired the engines. "What about my father? The other delegates? They have their own ships. We cannot help them by dying here." Connor launched without clearance, dodging debris and weapons fire. The station was coming apart, sections venting atmosphere and spinning into space. A Tal cruiser targeted them. Connor dove through the expanding debris field, using wreckage as cover. Plasma bolts superheated the hull. Shields dropped to 30%. "Hold on," Connor said through gritted teeth. He executed a maneuver that should have been impossible, flipping the ship inverted and burning hard in the opposite direction. The Tal cruiser tried to follow but collided with a chunk of station hull. The explosion bought them seconds. Then everything changed. Space lit up as human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Not 6 hours away. Here, now. Zalara stared in shock at the Earth fleet. Dozens of ships, each one bristling with weapons humanity had been secretly building for decades. They moved with precision and devastating efficiency. The Tal cruisers turned to face the new threat. They were larger, more heavily armored, but the human ships fought differently. They coordinated like a single organism, targeting weak points, covering each other, adapting instantly to Tal tactics. "How did they get here so fast?" Zalara whispered. "Because they were already close. Watching, waiting." Connor monitored the battle. Earth Command knew something was coming. They positioned the fleet 2 systems away, just in case. A human carrier released fighter craft that swarmed the TAL cruisers like insects. Precision strikes disabled weapons and engines. Within minutes, 3 TAL ships were crippled. The rest tried to retreat. The human fleet did not pursue. They had made their point. Connor received a transmission. All ships, this is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. Stand down and prepare for rescue operations. The Tal aggression has been neutralized. King Vexen's voice came over the Council emergency channel. What is the meaning of this? Earth has a military fleet? You deceived the Council, Admiral Chen responded calmly. With respect, Your Majesty, we informed no one because we needed no one's permission. Earth defends itself. Today, we also defended you. You are welcome. The statement was diplomatic but carried an unmistakable message. Humanity was not asking for a seat at the table. They were taking it. Connor docked with the human carrier. Medical teams were already treating wounded delegates from other ships. The efficiency was impressive, almost unsettling. These humans had prepared for everything. Zalara followed Connor through the ship and saw human crew members moving with military discipline. This was not a defensive fleet scrambled in panic. This was a war machine that had been ready for years. They reached the command deck. Admiral Chen was a stern woman with gray hair and calculating eyes. She nodded to Connor. Good work on Tal Prime, Operative Blake. Your intelligence was accurate, Admiral. Connor saluted, a gesture Zalara had never seen him make. What are our orders? Stand by. The Council will have questions. Many questions. Chen looked at Zalara. Princess, your father is safe aboard the rescue carrier. He has requested your presence. Zalara found King Vexen in a medical bay, shaken but unharmed. He embraced her with all 4 arms. I thought I had lost you. Connor kept me safe. The king looked at Connor with new eyes. It seems I misjudged humanity. We all did.
Most species do, Connor said simply.
We prefer it that way. Over the next days, the truth emerged fully. The Council learned about Earth's fleet, about the embedded operatives, about 40 years of careful preparation. Some delegates were furious, others were terrified. All of them were forced to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about humans. The Tal Confederation collapsed politically. Their chancellor was arrested, their military dismantled. The council that had almost died was now secured by human ships that refused to leave until stability was guaranteed. Zalara stood with Connor on the observation deck of the carrier, watching Earth's fleet patrol the council space they now openly protected. What happens now? She asked. Now humanity stops pretending. We join the council as equals, not pets. We contribute our strength openly instead of hiding it. Connor took her hand. The galaxy changes, whether it wants to or not. Will there be war? Maybe, but not today. Connor smiled, the gentle smile she had fallen in love with. Today everyone is too shocked to fight. Tomorrow we will see. King Vexen approached them. Princess, I have been speaking with the Earth representatives. They have proposed a formal alliance between our peoples. Given that you are already mated to a human, it seems appropriate that you serve as our ambassador to Earth. Zalara looked at Connor in surprise. You planned this? I suggested it. The decision was yours to make. Connor squeezed her hand. You wanted to know the real me. Well, this is it. Soldier, operative, and someone who genuinely loves you. All of it is true. The question is whether you can accept all of it. Zalara thought about everything she had learned, the violence, the deception, the hidden strength, but also the protection, the sacrifice, the human who had risked everything to save her and her people. I accept, she said. All of it. You are not what I expected, Connor Blake, but you are exactly what I need. She kissed him in front of her father, in front of the human admiral, in front of a galaxy that had just learned a fundamental truth. Humans were not fragile. They were not weak. They were survivors who had turned vulnerability into strategy and kindness into camouflage. And anyone who mistook those qualities for weakness would learn, as the Tau had learned, that humanity's greatest strength was making others underestimate them.